And I said earlier that you can't look at what's happening to Black voters being, voting rights protections being rolled back without understanding that so much of the systematic barriers to economic security were put in place to deny Black people access to, like the donut hole in Medicare that is hurting a lot of people, was there because they wanted to make it harder for Black people in the middle of these conversations. So many of the things that are harming all Americans were put in place specifically to box Black Americans out of possibilities. And so my hope is that, it's sort of like the mask is off, right? This is a plunder economy where people are getting away with whatever they're getting away with it because they can, right? Because who's going to check them? Right now you have the president basically saying, I want to go after, let's say, Southern Poverty Law Center. Not because they've done anything wrong, but because I have the ability to use the same system that could, what do they say, grand jury will indict a ham sandwich. But he's using that to create a de facto blacklist, right? So because he's weaponized the Justice Department to go after his enemies, you have, groups like, Vanguard and Fidelity allowing him to weaponize it by freezing money to Southern Poverty Law Center. And if that's allowed to stand, then through the indictment process, he'll just create a de facto blacklist against anybody who's willing to stand toe to toe with him and fight back. And so we got to stand up for Southern Poverty Law Center, and we've got to push back against the complete corruption of the criminal justice system, so that it becomes just another arm of his personal vendettas and his political strategy. So all of it flows from the same playbook. And the only way we're going to stop it is for us to have these kinds of conversations and to wake people up to how they're being played. You kind of go, why on earth is every politician talking about the trans community and using these Republican candidates are using the same talking points? Well, it's because a think tank realized that gay marriage was no longer the wedge issue. And they literally wrote a report saying, we got to find something else. They said we threw everything against the wall. And what we realized was a lot of Americans don't know this community, and it's small enough that we can define them. And they set about to make every conversation about the trans community. I think people just have to wake up and ask themselves, if you're being told to hate somebody, ask yourself who benefits from you hating that group? Who's orchestrating that for you? Because that's not what most people in their day-to-day lives are thinking about, putting energy towards. They're just trying to, keep a roof over their head, deal with the incredible inflation. But they've got us having every conversation except for the ones that implicate what they're up to.
You must not have watched a lot of Fox News, Nadine, because Fox News has been training its audience to be angry about everything literally for decades, which I think is part of the problem. As a former Fox News consumer myself, I watched it, and I watched relationships that I had literally for my entire adult life, some beyond that in which we never engaged in a single political conversation ever, become 100% about the outrage of the day. And so, it works. Unfortunately.
Well, outrage is fun, which is why we're seeing them attack the WNBA right now. It was like the one thing that was good and wholesome that everyone could enjoy, that was bringing people together, has now become this culture war issue. And I'm kind of annoyed because a lot of Black men have piled on there. And instead of defending a league that is primarily driven by Black women, Black queer women, they're adding to what feels like is very tailored to the upcoming midterms. It's like they needed to get them excited about something. How about let's just bring out Sophie Cunningham and have her be the poster child for the issue that they're going to use to drive a wedge between people between now and November.
Yeah.